you're probably not hearing much back. And if you are
This meeting
hearing,
is being recorded.
and if you are hearing something back, that's awesome and impressive and just very, very, very statistically unlikely in the current economy. However, the new process that we just stumbled into and has worked extremely well across pretty much every major industry field of work is AI optimizing your resume for each role, and not each job posting, but for each job title. So for product manager, what does my resume need to look like to be a top 1 to 5% candidate? Same thing for sales, marketing, whatever it might be. How do you make sure that when you get out 100 applications, you're going to be in the top 5, worst case 10 percentile of most of those without having to do customizations every time? So how do you write like the perfect resume for the field, for the job title? Pair that with mass scale application, right? So we increase our conversion rate by having a better resume in LinkedIn that bypasses filters, put rocket fuel on the fire with a ton of volume, and then collect interviews on demand. So what's the difference between a decent resume and the resume that actually wins? Generic formatting. You might have Googled, give me a resume template, found something on the internet. God forbid you have like colors or a picture of yourself on your resume or any, like colorful fonts. You need to end that immediately. You probably don't have all the right keywords because, again, the AI system is basically comparing the job title or the job posting to your resume, and it's the AI layer is trying to interpret, are you qualified or not? And that's going to oftentimes auto reject you, or even in a like still not good case scenario, put you more towards the end of the list. But what you need to happen is you need to show up on pages 1, 2, or 3 of search results for recruiters, because just like a human doing Google search results, that's as far as you're going to go. So keywords are important. Role specific positioning is very important. So again, just really understanding not just the keywords, but how a resume needs to be structured for your job title. And then ultimately, that all culminates in being invisible on the ATS platform, that you're not even getting seen by recruiters. But when you do get to that 94, that 95 out of 100, at least above a 90, the keywords are dialed. You have the right formatting on your resume. You have all the right job titles and the jobs described as needed to be that top candidate. And then that doesn't even guarantee you results, but it does guarantee that you then finally land in humans' lap, and they're the ones reviewing your resume in LinkedIn, so you're getting eyeballs on it. And when you unlock that, that's truly when the entire floodgates get open. So the same person with the same experience is going to get completely different results because of finally understanding how to ATS optimize the resume. Okay, so recapping that, the market isn't dead. It's not a horrible job market. Are tons of people getting laid off? Yeah, but are tons of companies hiring? Yes. You can go look at that data. There's not a shortage of jobs, but a small percentage of people are taking all the jobs and all the opportunity because almost no one understands how to do those previous steps that I just shared the right way. But when you unlock that, you open the floodgates and you open the door for the opportunity to have a ton of interviews. And I'm going to explain why just that alone isn't enough, and you do need to pair it with volume, which is secret number 2. Part number 2 is none of this is going to work if you don't get the volume out. If you're only applying to 10, 20, 30, even 50, even 100 jobs a week, it's not going to be enough. And again, I'm going to break down why. So this is the cold hard math of the modern job search. Let me actually ask, put in the chat real quick, how many jobs are you applying to per week? I want to get a pulse check on the room. Drop a number. 6, 10, 30, 20 to 30, 5, 30, 35. Okay, cool. Sounds good. So I'm just going to assume 30 is the average based on everyone answering. Good for you, Greg, getting out 100. That's great. Cool. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be really bring a lot of clarity for you guys. So this is the cold hard math of the job search. On average, every job on LinkedIn has about 500 applicants. Statistically, you have, even with a very, very good resume in LinkedIn, and we've now applied to, I don't know, it's got to be over 10 million total jobs for people since our company started. Some crazy number. But we find that even with an extremely dialed resume and LinkedIn, you're getting about a 1% response rate. And that sounds depressing and it sounds horrible, but it's just a reality that when 499 other people are applying to that job that you did, they're only even considering the perfect candidates. Of the perfect candidate, like of the people they're going to interview, all of them are a perfect fit for the role. So, and of course, everyone's experience is going to vary. You're not going to be the perfect candidate for every role. So that said, even once those things are dialed, you should assume a target of 1% response rate, which sounds depressing. So like, dang, I would have to get out so many applications to get a 1% response rate, but it's also, on the flip side of the coin, empowering, because if you can control volume, even at 1%, which is, again, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'll just land that point real quick. If you can get out 2,000 applications a month, which sounds really hard and impossible, but if you can do it, that's 20 interviews a month. And then getting a job becomes a statistical likelihood rather than a game of luck and chance. But if you get out 100 applications per month, which is not far off what you guys shared in the chat, that would be about 25 per week. You'd be getting about 1 interview per month. So it's actually not that it may or may not be your resume's where it needs to be. It's probably not. Most people come in with their resume scoring around 50 out of 100, which is just normal because no one really teaches us how to do this stuff. But even if it were a great resume, it's just it's a function of low volume, because it's that competitive out there. So if you're only getting 1 interview per month, obviously it's going to take you an infinite amount of time to get a job, because again, even when you're in there interviewing, there's so many great candidates that you shouldn't just expect, oh, I got 1 interview, it's going to turn into an offer. That's also very not frequently the case. So hopefully that brings a little clarity to where the bottleneck is for each of us individually. So the job search truly is a probability game. And I'll say it doesn't have to be, right? You could hypothetically get a job from your network, but that's in the camp of hope. I hope someone I know is just going to happen to have a job opening where I happen to be the best candidate of all the other people that got referred into the job. It's just not a good strategy if you need income now, or you want income now. So when you're playing the game off hope, you're hoping that one of your 100 applications that go out this month is going to land you an interview, and then that's just an interview. Even once you get an interview, you probably have a 5-10% chance of landing that offer. But however, if you can play the math game and you can apply to 500 jobs a week, 2,000 a month, and it just becomes statistics. 20 interviews a month for 3 months, 60 interviews. Even if you can just hit the broadside of a barn with your communication skills, you will have an offer, and that's the game we play. And again, getting ahead of myself, but we offer guaranteed placement for our clients if they meet criteria, and we can do that with confidence and without going bankrupt, because we're playing a game of statistics with people that if they can just do these things, it will happen. So there's no way I can apply to 500 jobs a week. I think the highest I saw in the chat, and maybe I missed someone, but is roughly 100. And yeah, it would be very hard to do that, even if you had no job and you were going hard by yourself. It would be very, very hard to apply to 100 jobs per day to get to these numbers. And even if you did have the time, it's probably not a very good use of your time. You'd probably be burnt out. You probably wouldn't even interview well because you're spending so much time grinding away on job applications. So you yourself, it's not likely you're going to hit those volumes. However, if you combine AI also with a human assistant that does support quality control, and I'll explain why that's important in a minute, you can unlock that volume. So this is a little bit of an insight into our process that allows us to get out 2,000 applications per month for everyone that we work with that can be adapted and adopted. So what this looks like is 2,000 applications going out on your behalf. You don't do a single thing. LinkedIn applications, long form and easy apply. Indeed and ZipRecruiter, long form and easy apply. And then also the long form applications on company websites, which are more comprehensive. No one really wants to do those. They're annoying, they're hard to do. You can't really do that with automation, but that's why, again, having a real human supporting in your job search, acting as a project manager, awesome way to get the volume out and cover all the different bases, and really just pepper your resume across the entire internet. If there's a job opening that aligns with your job title, we fill it. That's our intention. So if you are able to achieve something like this, like, let's not worry about the how do we implement that on our own, but if you can implement it, this is what it starts to look like, right? In a given month, and this 200 applications is a little generous compared to where a lot of you guys are at, but 200 applications, 2 interviews. By day 90, you're still searching, you're exhausted, you're demoralized. But if you can build this AI system and you implement it over 90 days, you've sent out 6,000 job applications, you book at least 40 to 60 interviews, and you're likely experiencing multiple competing offers. And I definitely imagine having at least one 6-figure role secured. So that's really the difference if you can unlock the volume with the quality control as well. All right, so you guys may or may not have seen ads for these AI apply softwares that exist out there. There's plenty of them. We've tested and tried pretty much all of them, hoping that we would find one that is great because it would just lower all our costs and we wouldn't need to have humans involved in the process, because we spend about $20,000 a month on paying real humans to support our clients apply to jobs. And it's a trap. And I just share that to really hope you guys save some time in not wasting that precious time to get an offer and make sure the income is where you need it to be for a few reasons. One, these platforms often hallucinate, right? Like, you've used ChatGPT enough to know that if these AI tools aren't perfectly prompted, they will share things that are either just false and untrue, or missing context. So what that could look like if you have this AI system being unchecked, just running, the likelihood that it's actually translating your experience to what the job offer needs is very low. Applying to the wrong jobs with the wrong strategy. So this is a whole other conversation, but job titles matter so much. So you could, if you blindly use it, you're like, hey, go after this specific job title. If there isn't enough again, like 2,000 applications per month need to be going out to have that statistical likelihood number. We see this time and time and time again with our clients. They come in and they're like, I want to go after social media manager is a great example. And I'm like, cool. Do you know how many of those jobs are out there? And they look it up and it's not a lot, but there are a crap load of marketing manager jobs, which are kind of synonymous, but in their head, they don't realize that picking the wrong job title.
The recording has stopped.
Optimizing around a job title that doesn't have enough volume can completely sabotage the entire job search before it gets kicked off. And the AI platforms that are out there for AI apply, they don't know that. Like, I've tested them all. They're all basically, you tell us what to do and we'll do it. So if you're not an expert in understanding how to drive and point the ship, the likelihood of success is quite low for that reason. Again, like, you guys have all seen people who write a post on Instagram or LinkedIn, and you're like, this was the most basic ChatGPT written thing ever. I can't believe you thought I would fall for this being written by you. That's how essentially all these platforms write resumes as well. None of the founders of these platforms are actual career coaches. They're people who understand technology. So I personally I never did trust those platforms we're going to custom write your resume and get it out there and whatnot, because even if they have a tool that does that, when I looked at the output, I've just been extremely unimpressed and know that no recruiter would read this and be like, yeah, that's a good resume and I want to hire this person. And no human oversight is just basically a bridge across all those things, that if you aren't spot checking these things to make sure the system's operating the way it needs to through a career expert lens, there's just so many pockets for failure that you're going to be blind to. So again, if you're in a place where getting a remote job is something you want to happen urgently in the next 90 days, I highly advise not to use one of these softwares, because you ultimately get what you pay for. All right, sweet. So takeaway, job search is essentially a game of math. You got to figure out how to apply at scale, let AI do the heavy lifting. If you use human oversight for quality control, that's the way to do it, is that combination. All right, just want to check here in the chat. If there's any questions, we'll circle back to that at the end. So keep your questions. You can put it in the chat too. We can always go back to them. Cool. So number 3 is job stacking, essentially. So someone brought it up right before the call started. How many of you guys on the call have either interested, maybe heard me talk about working multiple remote jobs, whether that's something, you can either say yes or no, whether it's something you're interested in or not. Simple enough. Cool. A bunch of people interested. Yes, sure. Yeah, it's definitely gained a lot more popularity. A few no's. Totally get it. Cool. It seems like quite a few though. And yeah, I think it's gaining a lot of momentum. Don't know what it is. We're going to cover that at a high level here. Cool. So job stacking is essentially the concept of working more than one remote job. And it's something I started doing in 2023 because my first job was so easy. I could do it in like literally 5-6 hours a week. And I was like, man, I'm making 80K. And I didn't really tell you guys the story, but I was making 80K, and I'm gonna have to move a little faster. I got a lot of slides to cover. I was making 80K, and I got another job at 160K, and then another job at 150K, and I worked all three for about a year and a half until I launched this company and started helping others. And the whole concept of job stacking is working, becoming as efficient as possible. I wrote a book, you can probably see it behind me, Ethical Job Stacking, which is what I termed how to do it in a way where you're still providing value for the company, but you're doing it efficiently on your terms, so that you can stack jobs in a way that's sustainable. So we already covered this picture, but I put it in again because I think it's really important. And I think it's one of the biggest reasons why job stacking is really appealing right now is people are making the mistake of assuming that their salary is all just going to keep going up and they're always going to have an opportunity to earn the income they're earning now. We live in this bubble of the United States where nothing like that bad has happened to anyone who's like upper middle class. Like, of course, if you're in poverty or had like a tough upbringing and whatnot, you felt that pain. But the type of things that are happening in Iran or wherever in the world, like we've never experienced that. So it's hard for us to believe that something like that could happen. And just like the degree of tech disruption, one, will we individually have jobs? Questionable. But then like, what does that do to the economy? And like, do we find ourselves in the complete like decade-long economic depression? Very potential. I don't know exactly when or if that will happen, but it's very possible. So I just urge everyone, whatever direction you're going to go, is take it really seriously over the next couple of years and do everything you can while there is still a bit of a calm before the storm. I've been using that terminology, calm before the storm, but the storm is starting to be felt and seen with the amount of layoffs and stuff that are happening. But yeah, just dropping that there for you. So essentially, what does that math look like? We're just going to use the basic 100K. So if you have one remote job earning 100K, if you have two and you're able to save the whole difference, within 2 years, you've saved an extra 200K. In 4 years, you've saved an extra 400K. And if you are able to stack 2 roles at just a bit higher salary, or even 3 roles at 100K, and again, me, a very normal dude who was only making 80K before, got to 390K per year. So that was an extra 310,000 per year I was able to save, which is like 600K across 2 years. So I just want you guys to see how some of these numbers extrapolate out, being a little bit more conservative on what the impact can be. But it's very reasonable that you could save an extra 500K in just a couple of years of job stacking if you're motivated. Okay, so is it realistic? These are some screenshots of some clients from that page I showed you. This is added. This is not total income. This is added income through our program. So Stella added 2 additional roles. She got up to 330K, or added 330K, got to 480K total. Joseph added 320 as an engineer. Nita got to 500K, added 317, and Richard added 360. So people who just followed the exact process I broke down for you had those awesome results. So how do you do it? You pick roles with large job volume of application. Like 95% of the hard part about job stacking is just getting the job because of how hard the market is. So the way you win is pick the right job titles. We internally have a job title cheat sheet of all the right job titles to go after based on your field. So you can play the volume game, scale your interviews. Once you get your interview system going on autopilot, you're taking 3 to 5 interviews a week. You're getting multiple offers. You're able to pick the companies that best support your remote lifestyle. You get really efficient with AI to get your workload cut down. You get really dialed, really efficient, and then you stack offers in a sustainable way, making sure you're still providing the value to the company. Doing it all in an ethical, legal, and profitable way for you. All right, so imagine while everyone else is scrambling and things in the world are tough, and we see all these headlines, but with a system like this, you get true income security. So job security is an all-time low. It takes 5.5 months to get a job. If you have multiple income streams, you're protected. You're not looking over your shoulder and constantly anxious about the next layoff. You have income and you have that system still booking you interviews as you need and want them. you're experiencing financial freedom without the risk of entrepreneurship or starting a business or learning all these new skills. You're using the exact same skills that you already have to double or triple your income. And it's very low risk in regard, in comparison to entrepreneurship or something like that. You have the peace of mind that doesn't exist with, all this instability out there. So you're not experiencing this Sunday dread. You're just constantly checking your inbox for interviews to see if you have any bites. You actually have a system that is giving you the sense of momentum. And we work with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And I see the energetic and emotional shift in people when it's such a relief when you have interviews flowing in and you're like, oh, the market actually doesn't hate me. I am going to have options, even if I don't have an offer yet, just that sigh of relief of when you have those interviews flowing in. And ultimately creating a life you want. You could talk about the fear of the job market, but beyond that, hopefully those things don't happen. I'd rather be prepared, but even if those things don't happen, what does this all create for you in your life, right? You are remote, you're flexible, whether that's spending more time with your family, being able to travel, being able to build the investment portfolio you want. A lot of you guys mentioned you're in real estate, so being able to take on more projects like that. But yeah, really, ultimately, you're in control of your life. You're dictating the driver's seat. You're not just beholden to your employer. If you have a crappy boss, if you have multiple income streams, you're able to make your own decisions and not just feel like you're at the whim of everyone else around you. So, do these jobs exist out there? I know we talked about the job market. It's scary. There's a lot of layoffs. Well, since 2020, there's been a 275% increase in remote jobs out there on the market. So the opportunities are out there, even with current layoffs. You just have to have a system that can get you into those opportunities. So basically, to just summarize everything we talked about, AI optimize your resume. So first and foremost, you need to optimize the resume and the LinkedIn so you can bypass those filters. Make sure you're actually having a high conversion rate. You multiply that by volume, get out 2,000 applications a month, so you're actually getting 20 interviews a month, basically repeatably, by statistical likelihood, and then stack your remote jobs if you want to earn 200, 300K plus, sometimes 500K, like some of our clients who totally blew me out of the water. So just drop in the chat. Does all that make sense to you guys? You picking up what I'm putting down? Cool. All right. Awesome. Want to make sure this makes sense. Hopefully it's valuable. Lauren giving us a little, Kate, I don't know if you can remove that. I don't think that was intentional. Laura drew on the screen here. Cool. Awesome, guys. Can I remove this? Annotate. There we go. Cool. All right, sweet. Oh no, my picture's gone. Well, there's a cool picture here of essentially two paths, right? So as I mentioned in the beginning, there's two paths. You can absolutely figure this out yourself. I, at one point in time, figured out myself, figured out how to write a good resume, really through just a lot of painful trial and error of putting it out there for weeks and just iterating and trying and whatnot. Same with LinkedIn, same with hiring people to support, same with figuring out how to build an automation system that gets this stuff done for you. I will say I've been going hard on Claude Code, which allows you to kind of build anything you want. And it's good for a lot of things, but I will say trying to code your own application tool is way too complex. We've had to hire someone else to do it. Or at least if you figured it out, tell me how you did it, because I tried. And it's a little too complicated for that kind of functionality. So all that said, can you figure it out? Absolutely. The one thing I would consider is that it could take a lot of time. And if what Anthropic is saying about how fast white collar work is going to be impacted, if you only have 20 months left to make that happen, is it worth putting 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 months into trying to figure it out if there's another opportunity? And that's the other path. The other path is having Elevated Tech, who's worked with 500 plus professionals, run your job search for you. Does it have an investment? Absolutely. I'm going to break that down for you. And should you see the ROI associated with that, the intention of it is, oh, if I make this investment, I cut that time down to 3 months. There's risk mitigation with a guarantee in place that we offer. And on that second path, let's get to that next income as fast as possible, with the least amount of risk and uncertainty possible. So those are the two options, obviously. So you can do it yourself for sure. And we can also support you in running your job search for you, getting you that next role, next 1, 2, 3 roles, a couple $100K within the next 3 to 6 months. So you're really on that path to financial freedom for yourself. So that's what I'm going to break down for you guys now. And we'll have plenty of time for questions at the end. So our company's Elevated Tech, the core program that I've just described to you, we call Scale Your Salary, which is an AI-powered white glove system to land your next 6-figure role in 90 days. Totally done for you. So what do we include in the service? You get the full training program, which you guys saw a screenshot of where it's hosted in that course program, which is everything you need to know. And this part is lifetime access. So all these modules for the rest of your career, you will have access to. How to optimize your resume and LinkedIn with proprietary AI tools, understanding how these job application automation tools work and getting access to those, interview prep frameworks. There's way more value related to interview prep stuff, but we have a ton of training modules on how to get better and more efficient in your interviews so that you're not learning in real time on interviews. You're very, very, very prepared when you get to the interview stage. And then tons of playbooks and strategy on how to stack remote jobs. So that's a full training course that we sell for multiple thousands of dollars. That's included. You get a dedicated career coach. So all our coaches have at least 10 years of experience. They've all worked at least one FANG type company, Udemy, Amazon, Netflix, Google, Meta, Recruiter. So they've done decades and decades of hiring cream of the crop people, and also at least a few years of writing resumes and coaching prior to working with us. So they're all elite coaches, and you get a dedicated coach assigned to you for the entire time you're in the program. Whenever you need them, you can get on a call, do a mock interview. They're helping you with your resume. They're helping you with your LinkedIn. So yes, we're here to get you a 6-figure job, but we're here to help you like download into your brain an understanding of the modern job market. So I would love I hope jobs aren't gone in 2 years. I hope that there is still like a resemblance of white collar work a decade from now, and whatever that landscape looks like, you will be at the head of the pack because you have someone who is at the highest level of that, like downloading it into your brain and holding your hand all the way through. The job application system, this is the big guns. This is the most fun part. We love getting our clients just caught up to this part, which is getting out the 2,000 applications a month. So essentially, once you get your LinkedIn and resume to the point that the system's ready to turn on, this is all done for you. You get put in a group chat with your real human who's running your job search for you, your coach, your head of fulfillment. I'm in that group chat too, and we're all overseeing your job application system. So 2,000 applications going out per month, and in real time, we can see how it's doing. We A/B test things, and all you do is wait for your assistant to tell you, hey, you have 4 interviews to book this week. Make sure you go find these specific emails in your inbox and schedule those. And over 90 days, that's 6,000 applications going out on your behalf. So you get access to not just the training on, but also access to these proprietary AI tools that I was mentioning and specific trainings on them, which you have lifetime access to. So by being a client of ours, you'll always have access to these tools. So a couple years down the road, you're back in the job market, you're ready to stack your next job, whatever it might be. You have the full suite of tools to continue optimizing your resume and LinkedIn for whatever specific goal you have in the moment. As I mentioned, you have your coach, so you get unlimited mock interviews and interview prep with them. So you have a big interview, you want to have a live conversation with your coach, you get as much of that as you need. You also have some really great AI tools that allow you to just rip interview prep and practice as needed, which we highly recommend and encourage. You get access to twice a week group calls that I lead along with my head of client success, one on Wednesday, one on Friday. Great opportunity to network with people like who are on this call, but people who are really committed to pursuing their careers. People refer each other into opportunities. It's a really cool thing. And yeah, you get lifetime access to that too. So even beyond 90 days, you'll always be able to show up on calls, ask questions, and get support. And this is really exciting. So this is only for people who are here today, which is I am putting together and have put together. I'm just about to put the final touches on it to be able to launch this live. But it's essentially a program to help people become experts in understanding how to use AI and automation to create their own consulting income, right? So that is, how do I master AI in my day-to-day work? But it's also beyond just my 9 to 5 jobs. What would I need to do? Because again, hypothetically, if that is what happens, is 9 to 5 jobs fall away, how do I know I can go actually, take my skill set and now go generate my own income through B2B clients, et cetera? And that's what that program is designed to do. We're selling that at $10,000 eventually, but that's going to be for free for everyone who joins us as a result of this program, which I'm super excited about. So all that said, you get the full program, you get your dedicated coach, you get 6,000 applications going out, you get access to the AI resume optimization and scoring tools, resume and LinkedIn tools, interview prep with your coach, unlimited amount during the time of the program, lifetime access to all the course modules and live community calls. And then you get exclusive access to the new AI automation expert course that we are launching in a few weeks here. So the total value of all that, I know this seems like a cheesy marketing tactic, but I mean, I think you guys could all agree there's a lot of value being provided here, but in total, we could be charging about $31,000 for everything I just mentioned. The program price, I don't know if any of you guys have had calls with our team, but the program price had gone up recently. So it is now a $7,000 program to do 90 days. So total value, 31K. We offer it at 7K. And if this system helps you land a 6-figure remote job in just a few months, you're turning 7K and you're profiting 93K on that, which is like a 14x return on investment. So it's really, I'm biased, but I don't think you could find another program that offers a guarantee, which I didn't cover yet, but we do have a conditional guarantee that I'll explain it now, if you do everything that's laid out in the course, so you just get your homework assignments at a time, show up to one group coaching call a week, you get a few excused calls, and then submit your weekly survey every week, we will truly run your job search until your place. So there's no risk in that regard. I got ahead of myself. So what I'm going to share with you guys, and there are 2 exclusive bonuses on top of the AI program that I mentioned that we're offering for free, is $2,000 off. So anyone who enrolls while we're live on this call will get $2,000 off that 7K price. So it will be $5,000. And Kaden, you can drop the link in the chat. The reason it's only, it's not a pressure thing. The reason it's that for people live on the call is if you end up needing a sales call, which is totally fine, or an enrollment call, I have to pay my team. And if you enroll here, I don't have to pay my team. So I can pass that discount straight to you. So for that reason, if you do it while we're live, you'll get everything I just mentioned for $5,000. And then also you'll get that placement guarantee. So if you do the work, we'll support you until you land that job. So there's no limits, no extra fees. We will support you until you're placed. So this truly is the lowest risk, highest upside opportunity that will ever exist to work with us. We've never offered $5,000 pricing before, and I don't foresee us doing it again. So that said, I'm going to open this link and you guys all have access to it. So I believe Kaden dropped it in the group chat here. But yeah, so this is going to dynamically change. I put a little extra time on it because I knew we'd go over. So this will be live for 40 minutes. And after 40 minutes, so down here, 3 ways to get started. There is the 5,000 option. This is going to disappear when that timer runs out. Well, really all of it will. The only one that will still be here is this. So, obviously people are in different places. If you want to secure the lowest pricing and you feel like, yeah, this is something I really want and I'm ready to go, you can use this link, get the $5,000 pricing, save 2K. If you feel like you really want to do this, but you need to figure out pricing, and this is only paid in full, there's no payment plan attached to it. If you're like, yeah, I want to do it, I just don't know how I'm going to make it work, but you want to lock in all the bonuses. So the conditional guarantee, the course that comes with it, and you'll still get $5,500 pricing. You're not going to get the full 5K pricing. But if you still want better pricing than our surface price, you can follow this link, which will allow you to make that $500 deposit. If something ends up not working out, it is fully refundable. But it will still lock you in for all the bonuses. And then if you're like, not really sure, not ready to take action, but I do want to learn more, totally fine too. You can book a strategy call. So that should be clear. The link should be in the chat and you guys can totally check that out. And if you have questions again, I'll answer them shortly. We do just still have a few more slides to get through. Cool. It was right here on this slide. Yeah, so I already covered all that. Great. Okay, so some of you I'm sure are thinking, that's a lot of money. Can I afford something like that? And I totally understand it. I understand that. I do just also want to offer another perspective as well. So if you get a 100K role and you're paying 5K to enroll in the program, you made a 20x ROI in 3 months. So really the only question to ask yourself is, can I get my homework done on time? And can I just commit to this thing for 90 days? Because if you can, even if, God forbid, it took longer than 90 days, you wouldn't pay a single dollar and we would eat all the cost. We would just do it for you. If you were able to land 2 roles during that time, that's a 40x ROI. And if AI is expected to automate most white-collar jobs within less than 2 years, the real question is can you waste an extra 3 to 6 months not getting a job? And if you can find another program out there that is offering these type of things, I'd love to know about it. I'd tell all my friends to enroll in it, but I've never seen a program like that, which is why we designed it. So truly, knowing what's on the market, knowing what the options are, in my opinion, you should be asking yourself, can you afford not to do something if you're not in a place where, yeah, I'm like totally set financially. So you also might be asking, does this work for my role? All these fields that are listed here, it can, will, and does work. As long as you have like at least 2 to 5 years of corporate type experience that can be translated into any of these fields, or there's plenty of fields that are not listed here as well. And again, don't feel like that'll hold you back. You can absolutely still enroll in the program. And like in a worst case scenario, we start working with you and realize it's just not a fit. We'll give you full refund. So don't worry about that. But if you're in product management, customer success, like UX design, engineering, data science, consulting, sales, finance, project management, marketing, HR, operations, customer success is another huge one. All those fields, this stuff works great because there are a lot of jobs out there in those fields. If you have any concerns about the job stacking part, is it legal? It absolutely is. Most roles are at will employment, not, there's no legal implication, even though it might violate the contract. But again, what's riskier? Like 95% of the time, you're not going to get caught job stacking or do something that would allow that to happen. But I think everyone can acknowledge there's significant risk in having just one job in the modern job market with how prevalent layoffs are. So ethical job stacking is not fraud or illegal. It's not doing bad work or screwing over your employer. It's not violating employment law. Ethical job stacking is managing your time across multiple jobs well, delivering the work you were hired to do, and creating income security in an uncertain market. And there are some nuances, like don't work for a government agency and do it, don't have security clearance and do it, don't work for direct competitors, because those are all reasons that you are creating extra risk and you could have legal implications. Cool. So either way, you work with us or do it alone. I really heavily encourage that your multi-6-figure income journey starts. Or at the very least, you just take your financial situation really seriously and take ownership of it. Because things are changing really, really, really fast. 33% of white collar work is already starting to be automated. Those who take action now are going to win and actually do very well. But the unfortunate reality is that most people are going to be left behind and have a really tough couple decades. So if you resonate with everything we shared today, I highly encourage you to lock in one of those options. Again, if you're not ready to do the full investment, totally fine. You can do the discount, but if you, or the deposit, but if you are ready to get started immediately and you want that best pricing, the 5K option is truly the best pricing we are and will probably ever offer. Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys sticking with me. We got through the whole hour. We have time and I'm going to stick around as long as we need to answer all questions. So I'm imagining the link is in the chat. I'm imagining that Caden has been dropping it, but I'll drop it again here at elitech.us/offer. Yeah, cool. Caden's on it. Nice and hyperlinked, unlike mine. Cool. So that said, there's tons of questions in the group chat. Would you guys like to just unmute and start asking questions, and we'll might be better for me to read them. There's a lot of questions. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to start after all the yeses, and if you have a question above that, just redrop it. Daniel, Feather, yeah, okay. I'm thinking AI will have an impact, but AI will always need human guards. Yeah, no, I mean, that's probably true. There probably will be people monitoring, but I think, at least what I've seen, and I already see how it can impact my own company. We have about 70 employees. And I think with mature current, like if I just implement what AI can do right now, we could probably have like 15 employees. And I think you could extrapolate that out to pretty much every company, where it's like, if that happened across the entire economy, that would be pretty bad. So I think there still will be jobs, especially in the next decade, but obviously far less for each company. So we're really just betting on more and more companies existing because of AI to offset that would be the hope. Okay, so people are nerding out on how they're able to have a bunch of different computers for different jobs. That's all great. All right, I'm just going to scroll down. We're going to work from the bottom here. Being out of work for a while, Laura, it's something we're going to have to fill, because you have to actually look like a perfect candidate, and recruiters act like they're swiping on Tinder, basically, or Bumble or whatever. There's 500 people, so they're going to take any yellow flag and swipe left. So we're going to have to find a creative way to fill that gap, whether we label it as consulting experience or something, but we can absolutely work with it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I had to just take a job to make ends meet. So, but it's not in my industry. My industry is media and entertainment, and it's pretty much dead.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
tough.
that's the challenge. I get asked that all the time in interviews. So it's like, oh, what are you doing? And so even though I have been working, it's not ideal.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, yeah, I mean, we see this a lot with HR. Like HR barely exists anymore. It's been so fully automated away already, which is a great example of this. And it's just been so heavily consolidated at the very least. And it's really empowering once you understand how to reframe your experience. Because it's not that you don't have experience, you're just not telling it in a way that the market is valuing it. So it's really playing the game of, okay, what can we translate this into, and then going through that process to, repackage it all to be the perfect candidate for something else, which you can do. So I just want to give you some hope that it's very doable to pivot.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Yeah, so Craig, we have worked with some sales engineers. We placed one at either Meta or Google, I forget, not too long ago. But yeah, that's absolutely a field we can support. Tyler, how to avoid risk when offers say not working for competitors? I mean, I'll say I did work for direct competitors, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I was willing to risk it for the biscuit. And I was totally fine. No one ever found out. But there's really not a way to mitigate risk except being a really good employee and not doing anything stupid. So it's just understanding the trade-off there, because there's a trade-off. Like if you're working for direct competitors and if they did both find out that you're working for each other, and if they had any reason to be able to say, oh, he was passing trade secrets, that was not like cool to be happening, that could end in a legal issue. So, but I wasn't planning to, but then I got an offer from a company that's a direct competitor. I was like, well, I kind of want the cash, so I'm going to do it. Everyone just has to decide what they want to do and understand the risk profile. So we've definitely supported people in nonprofit government type work, but it's a dying, I mean, there's just not a lot of work in that subset of field. And we just want to create the most opportunity for people. So all that said, can we reframe that into something that is one of those bigger pockets of work that was on my slide previously? Probably. something that's like non-technical and more just like, it could be project management, it could be customer success, anything that's very translatable, we could probably, we could adjust that. We'd want to see your resume and whatnot to really figure out how to tell the story differently, but we have a lot of success of repackaging people that do have those more niche backgrounds. Yeah, so we have portfolio as part of our program. We request that almost everyone create a portfolio because it is a differentiator. But yeah, we absolutely would support with and this is for Matt. We absolutely do support with going over going over portfolios and making sure those are optimized in the way that the hiring manager and the hiring team would want to see it. There's plenty of things you can do about the background check, Johnson. So, there's certain data that it's all the data that these background check companies are using. You have your right as a U.S. citizen to make sure that it can't be shared and bought and purchased. So you just need to understand how to do that. So we help all our clients just make sure certain information isn't out there that would, hypothetically, if you're working multiple jobs, prevent that from being accessed. Yeah, so you can absolutely, William, you can absolutely outsource your work to VAs. My now head of operations for our entire company, who oversees like 60 of our VAs, I hired her as a VA from the Philippines to do my product management work for me. So it's less and less necessary because AI can do most work. So maybe you'd probably want to lean into that and just better understand how to use some AI automation tools to support your workload. But yeah, absolutely. Accounting and finance is some of the most automatable work as long as you can get around either make sure your company is offering internal tools and or figuring out a way to get that data in a way that you can manipulate it in a more automated fashion. Yeah, so get a job, get that job down to under 20 hours a week, add another job, get that job down to under 20 hours a week, repeat as often as you want, as much as you want, essentially. Ryan, I just started an 80K fully remote job. And Caden, has anyone, let's see, I just want to check. Sweet, we got, Helen. Helen decided to fully join the program. That's awesome. We got the 5K down and we got a couple deposits down too, which is really exciting. So freaking awesome to see. Love that. Yeah, Ryan, so PDM systems analysis. I just started an 80K fully remote job 4 months ago. Can you work with me? So if I need, Ryan, maybe you want to unmute and ask your question. Just want to make sure I have full context.
Sure. Yeah. My question, I guess, is just about how my resume would look because, I did my first job in this career 2 years and 9 months and then, or 2 years, 8 months. And then now I'm 4 months into a new job, which is a step up, but not so much in terms of money, more in the fact that it's fully remote.
Got it. Okay. And is it in the same field though?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for sure then. Yeah, that's actually perfect.
Okay. So the companies won't care, like, oh, why are you looking again, right?
No, definitely not. Yeah. Okay. I mean, there's way worse problems to have. Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely not a deal breaker. It's great that you're in a role. Yeah. There's plenty of different stories we can tell. I have a couple in my head that would be totally fine.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, so Eamon, we can definitely pursue senior level roles, but what you need to understand is VP of sales has much more VP senior level volume than pretty much any other subset. Because typically anytime you get above the director level, anyone can go do their own search on LinkedIn, but you're probably going to find that for most fields, there's like less than 50 new roles in that VP level of your exact job title you're looking for per month. So the volume is just not there. VP of sales is going to be a little bit better in the few hundreds, but again, it's still only in the few hundreds. So Eamon, we could definitely do that. I would encourage us expanding our scope to hit the volume game. Like if we get that one role that hits out of the park, amazing. But I always just want people to getting that volume. so we can create momentum and have more choice and opportunity. And then Eamon, I don't know what your appetite is for, and again, you can unmute and add some clarity and context, but I don't know what your appetite is for job stacking, but you know, we've helped plenty of sales professionals be earning like 400 or 500K across 2, maybe 3 roles. 3 roles, I think, is a little much. But depending on what you're currently doing, if you're open to that concept, there's a lot of flexibility in there for sales leaders. Did you want to add any context to that?
No, thank you. That's clear enough. And I think I'm after the job stacking with 30 years plus experience in this field. So
sweet. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Sweet. And Kayla, shout out to Kyla, for hopping in with the deposit as well. We're excited to get to chat with you. That's awesome. Cool. All right. One employer finding out that they're working with other companies. I'm going to hop up to the new user. So with the 5K program, you can get as many jobs as you can stack in that time period. So you get 90 days access to the program, and plenty of people get more than one offer during that time. I mean, dude, I don't know if you're a woman or not, dude, but product management and software engineering are so hot in terms of our ability to get interviews and generate momentum. So I think it's very possible you could get more than one role in that 90 days. But we also offer continued extensions at 30% of the cost. So even in a worst case scenario, you use up your time and you got an offer, for 1K per month, you're able to just continue working with us as needed. And plenty of people come back, whether it's immediately or like a year later if they lose their job, and take us up on that option. So we got you covered. All right, let me scroll back up. William, I've heard of one employer finding out that they're working with other companies and informing other employers. Very uncommon. There's so many things you can do, from how you protect yourself on LinkedIn. And it all starts from just be a good employee. If you're a good employee, no one's even asking the question, is this dude working for somebody else? You know, protect yourself on LinkedIn. You don't want to work for, like, if you're in a really small pool, if you're in some weird like niche of crypto where everyone knows each other, that type of thing might happen. You know, there's a very, very, very small chance randomly 2 employees talk about you because you come up and they're like, oh, he works here too. Like, if you're going to let that specific thing, hey, let's go. Adam just joined. Adam, super excited to have you in the program. Adam went for the full commit, full 5K. That's awesome. Yeah, so that said, William, you could do it. Is it something that, like, if it were me, I'm always thinking about what's the opportunity cost, right? It's like if I'm living in a fear that thing could happen, but it's like literally like less than a 0.01% chance that happens. What's the opportunity cost of that? So it could happen, but all that said, if you just do just do the basic things right, it's a way less than a 1% chance that type of thing could happen. Jonathan H. So we typically, you can still book a call. I would say, Jonathan, you can book a free call and we'll talk to you. We'll understand your situation, see if there's something maybe a little more custom we can provide for you, if you need something at lower cost point. So Hugh, I realized I didn't hit the record button. And I think it started like halfway through. Caden turned it on and then it turned off. I don't know if intentionally or not. So this did not get recorded, unfortunately, but we'll keep you posted if we do more of them. I have a feeling we'll do another one. Pete, job gaps on resume and how to address it in an interview. Absolutely. Like I mentioned, you do have to come across as the perfect candidate. So we figure out how to make that happen for you. Like, we have to figure out how to kind of fill those gaps, because oftentimes people are just unfortunately not going to want to have that conversation. It's just a reality of the game. Again, we've helped so many people do this that it's just a non-starter often. And we could test it. We could test it for 2-3 weeks, but I don't want someone to burn that much time when, you know, we want to get their momentum. So all that said, yeah, Pete, we can absolutely help you. Pete, did you have a follow-up question on that? Did I answer that well for you?
Somewhat, yeah. It's more in a sales role. And, you know, sometimes in sales, I guess they want, you know, why didn't you make your number kind of thing like that? And then why did you take so long? So I just need to fill that in.
How long were you laid off?
About 5 months,
Okay. And how long ago was this?
currently.
Got it. Okay, so that's actually better. We would like we would probably put some type of, because again, this is going to sound bad, but as we've done this long enough, like it's going to be a non-starter. People are not going to want to talk to you if you're unemployed, and it's just unfortunate reality. So we would probably create some sort of like you've run your own sales consultancy type of thing on your resume just to fill the gap. And this is getting like we just talked about this on the coaching call. It sounds brash to do something like this, but it's just we see it time and time and time again. It's just a necessary reality that there needs to be current employment history. So if that means we have to like put a front that we're doing our own business or something, just to be able to like get 5 seconds of the recruiter's brain energy to actually slow down and read our resume, that's the game we have to play. So I wish it weren't the case. It is, and we would absolutely help you kind of figure out what to do with that gap in your resume so you could get more interviews.
Okay.
US based work internationally, yeah, can totally support that. As long as, especially with our conditional guarantee, as long as you have US work authorization, so you're a US citizen applying for US jobs, you're totally fine. It gets a little more nuanced and complicated if you don't have work authorization or if you're trying to apply for jobs in other places besides the US. But if it's US, applying for US jobs, totally, yeah. And one of our B2B partners, so like I mentioned at the beginning, they're called Beach Commute, and they exclusively support people that are digital nomads. They charge more than us, so no reason to go look them up. But yeah, that's definitely doable.
Thank you. Yes, and I'm born and raised U.S. citizen, so I'm just like I want to live overseas though.
Yeah, we got you. Everyone should do it for at least a little while. Okay, great. Okay, we covered that. Is that the using the VPN method? Yeah, I mean, depending on the company and how strict they are, you could totally use a VPN. It just depends on the company. And shout out Rolando, for joining the program all in as well. Excited to have you in the program. Love it. Cool. Sweet guys. So what else? I'm committed to supporting you guys, so I'm happy to rock it for another 15 minutes or so. Do you guys have any other questions? I'll stop sharing my screen. If you're still on here, you must have some kind of question. So Jonathan, I'm getting a leg cramp. Ooh. So you get full access with a dedicated coach for 90 days, and 90 days of done for you applying. So let's say someone signs up for the program and they're getting a bunch of interviews and momentum, but they just didn't get their homework in on time. They didn't show up to coaching calls, and you're like, dang, I didn't get the guarantee. We are so committed to results that we designed it, as I mentioned, but just to kind of re-articulate it. No matter what, you get lifetime access to the group calls. So even if you, for whatever reason, didn't do your part to get the guarantee, you would get infinite lifetime access to the group calls where you're on call with me, asking me questions about your job search every week. You have lifetime access to the modules, so the entire system of how to do all this stuff that I'm mentioning, you have lifetime access to, so it never goes away. Every time it's updated, you still have it. And obviously like the community aspect as well, you'll still have access to, so that digital community I showed at the beginning. What you don't have is a dedicated one-on-one coach, which you shouldn't even need after 90 days, because at that point you've already dialed your resume and LinkedIn, and you've already gotten really good at interviewing. And then you will no longer have the done for you job applications. But in the course, we teach you how to run that for yourself. So we want to be able to hand that over to you and be like, it's like a car. We built the car's already going. We're going to hop out of the driver's seat. You're going to hop in the driver's seat, and you're going to be able to do this. Either your option is you can run it yourself. So like you oversee the VA and you now have access to the AI software for like total all in couple $100 a month. Or if you really want us to keep doing it all for you, and you also still want to have a coach dedicated to you, it's about $1,000 a month. If you happen to need it. But what I always like to think about is like, what's the worst case scenario? So even if somehow that happened And even if it took you an entire year, or like, let's say 9 months for simple math, it took you 9 months to get a job, you would have spent about $10,000 to get a $100,000 job, and you would have covered the whole thing in 2 paychecks. So that's a worst case scenario. That is like the worst case scenario I can think of, at least. So hopefully that'll give you some clarity, Jonathan. And then Kayla, yeah, good stuff. Just reading Caden's comment there. Cool. Cool. Any other questions, guys? What else can I answer for you?
Hey Delaney, quick question. I just signed up, so very excited
Let's
to
go.
get started.
That's awesome. We're
Yeah,
stoked.
yeah.
What's your job? What do you do?
I'm currently PM at Amazon.
Let's go.
Yeah, going
I'm
to the office
excited.
every single day kind of sucks, but looking for remote, looking for
And
international.
you got that like clickbait job title. So that's perfect.
Yeah, so excited to work with the team. What's the next step? So don't see any emails. Do I
Yeah,
just
I
wait for an
didn't.
email?
Yeah, so we're gonna go through everyone who enrolled, and we're gonna send. We should have them out by end of day. My head of client success is in Pacific time, so she should still be online. We should be able to get those out. Worst case in the morning, but I'm gonna make sure they get out today. So yeah, you'll have an inbox. It'll be either Elevated Tech or Scale Your Salary welcome email with
Got
everything
it.
you need.
Is
Yeah.
there anything that I can
Um,
do right now to kind of prep for the work, I guess?
Well, one, Caden's on here, so we'll make sure Caden, could you at least get everyone who did the full payment into school, like after this call? So we'll get you immediate access to school so you can start checking that out. But I love the question. To hit the ground running, definitely you can start going through school, which is the course platform. And the course is very linear, very hold your hand step by step all the way through. So you can just start working your way through the Scale Your Salary course in there. But then also the welcome email is going to, we'll need to assign your coach. So I'll have to figure that out to send the welcome email. But once we have your coach assigned, that will have a link to book an onboarding call with your coach, and they'll go through everything with you. But the welcome email will also walk through, like, tracking your deliverables. But then once you get on that onboarding call with your coach, on that call, you'll go over basically the first call is just to go through understanding how the whole program works. You'll set up another call right after that with them, which is going through your strategy document. So in the course, the first thing you do is your career vision worksheet, which is, you're a product manager, so it's probably gonna be pretty cut and dry, but it's making sure we're targeting the right job title for you so that the whole system, starts off in the right direction. So those are gonna be your first 2 things to do, is go through the initial couple school modules, fill out the career vision worksheet, and then right after that, you just start jumping into the resume stuff. So should be pretty seamless for you.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Good stuff. Brandon, do you want to elaborate on your question? Like, do you have a specific field? I don't know, Brandon's still here. Yeah, you are. Brandon, are you in a specific field?
Yeah, I work in IT, but I usually work for business. I work as an analyst, business analyst, data analyst, that kind of thing.
Yeah, both of those roles, like, here's what I'll say. Everything is going to be company dependent. So could you find yourself at a company that sucks, your boss is crazy, the company culture is insane? It's possible. That exists everywhere. But plenty of people have gone through a program to get data analyst roles. Data analyst roles are very stackable, business analysts as well. So will you have your outlier companies that make it harder than others? Sure. But both of those are on average quite stackable because it's a lot of like deliverable based work.
Correct. Yeah.
So
And the reason,
yeah.
And the reason I ask is because I just got finished with a contract working for a company that somebody in the comments made a comment similar to this. We were in what I call meeting hell for hours upon hours upon hours, like 6-7 hours of meetings a day. So that's the reason why I'm asking, is just way to find out if it's stackable ahead of time, because I want to kind of avoid those types of companies for obvious reasons, because you don't want to stay 6-7 hours in meetings that you're constantly have to shift focus on one to another to another to another. So that's the reason why I'm asking, which what you said kind of tracks with what I've experienced.
Yeah. And what I'll say about that too, I think the best antidote to all this is having that momentum game. So
Right.
it's like if you get one job offer, but you're not getting a lot of interviews, it's like, oh, I got to cling on to this thing and hope it works. But the cool thing about at least our approach is when you have like 3 to 5 interviews a week, you have a pipeline, just like in sales, you're developing a pipeline. So you have more, the power dynamic is almost flipped. It's like, why should I accept your job offer type of deal? And at the very worst case, it's like, well, if I take this job, I should expect another offer in the next couple weeks or so. So even if this one ends up not being it, you have more choice.
Fair enough. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Simon, our roles in cybersecurity, governance, stackable. Yeah, we've worked with quite a few people in the cybersecurity space. There's obviously so many different job titles in the cybersecurity space, so they vary quite a bit, but certainly, yeah. The only thing would be to watch out for if you have like security, like government security clearance type stuff, and that can get a little tricky. But the roles themselves, absolutely. And Simon, feel free to ask a follow-up question or add clarification if you'd like. He's still here. Cool. No worries, Simon. Cool. Sweet. Well, anybody? Cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Caden. Yeah, we got about 10 minutes left until the promo will what's the word I'm looking for? The promo will be gone. So yeah, if you guys want to hop on that, you absolutely can. If you want to just book a call, you can absolutely do that as well. But yeah, again, while we're here. So Jonathan, the 5K price is only available on this call because the minute you actually sign up to speak with someone, like Nick Langeninger, who's on here, is one of our enrollment coaches, I have to pay him a lot of money to have that conversation with you. So the only way that we can actually not just break even or lose money supporting you guys is if we only have the 5K pricing now. But Jonathan, if you do the 5K and then you have a conversation after, like, if you want to do the 5K, you can, and you and I can have a brief conversation. And then, like, if you truly feel like it's not a fit, we can reverse it for you. So if you really want to withhold that price, rather than talking to someone on my team, you and I can have some dialogue after this call. Could be an option for you. But Jonathan, no, we don't have any other plans to do another one of these webinars. And I mean, it may happen, but we don't have any on the calendar. And again, if you do just decide to book a call, the pricing we could reserve for you is $5,500. So that's always an option as well. That would be, I think you already did a deposit. So if you just take your call, the deposit call, you would get the $5,500 pricing, which is totally fine too. Cool. What else, guys? Anything else? Still a bunch of you guys on here. So if you're sitting around, I'm sure you got a question. Feel free to ask it. Yeah, so the AI automation program is something we're building out to. The intention behind this is me looking at the future of the job market and being like, where are things going and how can we support people? And I think it's awesome for people who want to look 5 to 10 years down the road. And if we take this hypothesis that white collar work is going to be really heavily impacted, and as white collar workers, it's like, dang, we rely on companies to create income. The best thing we can do is empower people that have a valuable skill set to think like entrepreneurs and really think like consultants that can go out and generate their own income. So I built this business to $4 million a year. I want to pass down all those principles of how to have your own offer, how to have your own market positioning, how to generate leads, how to generate revenue for yourself, paired with like how all the cool new AI technology can be leveraged to become more efficient and effective in your job. So it's a combination of like, what are the new AI tools? How do we deploy them? But how do we also deploy them to make money and make sure that beyond just I wouldn't necessarily encourage people to sink their teeth into that now while we're trying to get jobs, but it's like, it's being designed as a like a second opportunity. So all the people who go through our program, we pulled them like, hey, what else do you want? A lot of them do want, after they're earning 200, 300, 400K, they want to learn how to scale their own business and, have that extra layer of income redundancy. So that's why we are designing it as like the thing beyond the job. So again, I wouldn't recommend people do both at the same time, but it is something you will have access to as it goes live. So Simon, unfortunately, we don't have another one of these planned. This was a one-off event, and the pricing and stuff is one-off. So I know you didn't get to listen to a lot of it. You can definitely, I know on that link, I don't know, I'm sure you saw by now, Simon, but if you want to book a regular call to speak to someone on our team, you can. You could also, if you do want to secure the bonus